Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. And today I want to talk about this watch here, or this style of watch. This is one of the variations of the GW-M500 G-Shock watch. And I kind of like the color on this one. They've recently discontinued this line of watches and all the different color variations. And so I was thinking I would like to get a spare of this exact one with the green color highlights there. And so it was becoming increasingly difficult to find this one. It was already becoming a little bit difficult just because the price had gone up. I guess people really like the color. I was looking at maybe if I could find a new one on eBay, maybe someone in Japan could ship one, and the prices were just going up and up and up. And so I thought, well, and then availability became an issue. I finally found one used, okay, this guy here. And it's just a little dusty, but it's in pretty good shape. I found just a few little, signs of wear and tear on this one. And I got to thinking to myself, I wonder if I could find the spare parts to restore this one on the right and make it look more like this one on the left. Just while I have the chance, while, maybe spare parts, while they're still available, I can see what I can find. So I went to packparts.com. I found a few spare parts. And I thought, let's just take a quick look and see what we can do to make this one just a little bit more pristine. Things I noticed about this watch right here, this is just a little thing called decorative piece, and it looks like it got gouged just a little bit like there. Maybe some of the polished surface got scraped off. Around here on the bezel, there's kind of a stainless steel piece, and it looks like it's got some scratches right there. This part of the bezel, it's been banged up a little bit right there. So if I could get replacements on all those. The watch band itself, it doesn't look bad. There's not a lot on this that would show lasting wear and tear. But as long as I was at it, and they don't cost very much, I figured I'd get a new watch band too. So if I can replace all those pieces, I wonder if that would make this look kind of like it was brand new. Let's see. Looks like there might be a little scratch on the glass right there. Not much I can do about that. But let's see if I can make the other parts of it just kind of spiff those up a little bit. Now, I thought I'd just explain that about 5 years ago or so, I was looking at a bunch of G-Shock watches trying to consider what would I want to buy. This one was available at a local Walmart store for under $100. I just didn't think from looking at it at a distance or looking at it on websites that it was a very good-looking watch. Just kind of, I don't know, just somehow it wasn't appealing to me. But they put it on clearance for half price at the local Walmart store, so I picked it up. And once I had it, I really liked it. The finish right about here, where it's a little bit brushed and then kind of, right along there, I kind of like that. It just kind of popped out at me once I had a chance to really handle it, and the price was right. So I got another one. So next thing you know, I had two of them, and I just figured, I'll just keep these in the rotation, and maybe eventually, if one of them gets scratched, I'll use that as my beater watch or something. But it was a great value, so I had some of these. But you know what? Then I started looking into the other color combinations. And that's when next thing you know, I had not just this, but I had the green one. I had this one with kind of an orange on it. This one is a slightly different model number, even though it's exactly the same module and everything about it seems to be exactly the same. But it's the GW-M530. And then here's one with kind of a blue tint there, and then here's one with the blue bezel to go with that tint. So I decided to get all of those. I think there might have been one or two other combinations that just became very, very rare, limited edition stuff. There might have even been one with negative display, and I just wasn't all that interested. But as far as I was concerned, these are the 6 variations I wanted. And then I found a deal on some duplicates, and next thing you know, I had the full set plus a spare on each of these colors, and so I figured that was pretty cool. And then they started closing out this one that they were selling at Walmart, so I got some of those, and so now this is my full collection. And now that they're officially closed out, I don't think I'll get any more of these, but maybe this is enough. 4 of this particular version, and then a pair of each of the other ones. So this is the one that I bought that was not new when I bought it. So I'll see if I can do a little restoration on this. As for this watch here, I bought this after I had already purchased this separately. And I just I like the green, you know, but I didn't really realize. I think these were released together as kind of a fire package early on. So these are supposed to go together. I happened to buy them separately, but it's kind of fun to know that I have them together now. And I actually do have a duplicate of this one. So as far as if this is an actual fire package from some year gone by, I now have 2 full sets of these, which is kind of fun to make that realization. So, okay, let's snazz this guy up. Now, so what I did is I went to the packparts.com website and I looked up this particular model, the GW-M500, and I found where they had a picture of this exact one with the green color scheme there. And then I started looking at the individual pieces that they offered for sale for, spare parts for this. And so I was able to find what they called, it's just called decorative piece. And that's just that little piece there that was kind of marred up right there. Okay, I'm not exactly sure how that attaches, but I have one. Okay, then there was the this is the metal part of the bezel in there, and then this is the more resin part of the bezel that goes around the outside of it. And then, just for good measure, I threw in a watch band, and this is the same thing for all the ones that I have. It's the same replacement watch band, same part for any one of those. See, they're all listed right there. And so I figured, yeah, as long as I'm at it, let's go for this and see what we can do. So now I have all my pieces, and the question is, how hard is it to disassemble this enough that I can install these spare pieces? Let's find out. My general advice is work in a small area and put something like this, a microfiber cloth, on your work area so that if any of the small pieces fall off, they're less likely to roll away. In this case, if they were to roll off my table onto the floor, they would be difficult to find, but not impossible to find because it is a fairly well-contained little area. But yeah, you just want to make sure, you don't want to lose these little tiny pieces. So the first thing I think I need to do is take off the watch band. So it looks like it's got kind of a screw on each side here that's holding the watch band in place. So get a couple small screwdrivers and work them together with each other. They're blade screwdrivers, so I'll put one on this side. Looks like this one's just a little too big, so let me get a smaller one. Just kind of learning as I go here. Let's see if this one will fit. Looks like, yeah, that's a pretty good fit. So if I turn this, it might loosen up. I can see that the other screw over here is turning as I turn this. So I'm going to have to, I wish I had 3 hands to do this, right? But what I'm going to do is try and coordinate holding one screw in place so that it won't turn while I then turn the other screw. Okay, just a little tricky to coordinate my fingers to hold one screwdriver still while turning the other, but it looks like I've got that out. So here's a tiny screw holding it from that side, and then over here, not quite sure how that comes out. I think there's sort of a shaft that goes all the way through. So the question is, how do I now push that through? I'm going to see if I can use the end of this screwdriver or something, something small to push that out. Looks like it's coming out. So that's how that works. So you got this full shaft here with screws on either end. So I'm going to place that over there so I don't lose that, and just remember it's oriented this way. And now that that's off, can I wiggle this watch band off? Let me see. Okay, that worked, and oh, it's kind of grungy in there. So while I've got it open, maybe I'll try and clean that up a little bit. But so now I've done that on one side. It looks like I'm going to have to do that on the other side now. So let's try again. Okay. All right, same deal. Looks like the small part of this is on the left side, and the longer shaft part of it is on the right side. So yeah, it looks a little bit grimy there, a little grungy. So I'm going to try and clean that up really well before I put it all back together. Now let's sort of peel this off. Hang on, folks. I need to stop right here and acknowledge one thing I learned by looking at the Pack Parts listing of parts for this watch. It turns out that the shaft at the 12 o'clock position to hold the watch band on is a different part from the one at the 6 o'clock position that holds that part of the watch band on. So just be a little careful keeping track of those. I didn't do a very close look to see what is the difference between those two shafts when I had them out. I'm going to guess one is just a little bit longer than the other. So just try and keep track of those. And I suppose if when you put it all back together, one of them just doesn't seem to be fitting right, you might want to reverse the locations in case you got them mixed up. But that's just something to keep in mind. Those two shafts are different. And there you go. Now there's that. I've got it down this far. Very good. Now I need to coax the this part of the bezel off here, and it's a fairly pliable resin piece, but I'm still going to be kind of careful in how I coax this away from the watch case and kind of up around the buttons and things. You know, there are some things kind of all around here helping hold it in place. So let's see what I can do. I might have to do this off camera just so I can get a better angle on how I'm working it myself. All right, let me show you where I've gotten so far here. Boy, it looks really grungy in there, but I was able to kind of peel this off on the one side, you know, so far so good. So what I'm going to do is kind of gently work it the rest of the way off on that side, and then see if, you know, I can just kind of work it off there. So there we go. Make sure these buttons, they got a little twisted here, these pieces here, but they're all still intact. Just gonna make sure they're all there. And you can see pretty grungy in there. So maybe I'll take a moment, just something really soft and a little bit of water, and just try and get that grunge out of there. I'm sure it's just, you know, from regular use, a little bit of sweat and dirt and everything just kind of gets stuck inside there. So, all right. So what I have here, you've got the metal piece and the decorative piece there are attached already to this resin piece. So what I've done now is I've taken what I had. I'll just show you here. I got these two pieces separately. Okay. So what I decided to do is try and fit them together before putting them onto the watch. So you can see this thin one here, this is metal. It's got all that. And so it just kind of, it fits in. There's a little bit of a slot here where this part goes, and then you can kind of see where it's supposed to line up there. And then a little piece of the resin kind of goes up into there. So, you know, just kind of work that in until things fit together. You can be very gentle about this. The resin stretches and moves a lot. So, you know, if I just kind of pop it in there, it looks like I've got it. So that basically is the piece I took off, minus that little decorative piece that's supposed to go right there. And let me open that up and see if I can figure out exactly how that adheres. So as far as I can tell, you know, there's nothing on there like some sort of adhesive or something to make that fit here. And there's nothing right there that will kind of make it stick if I just press it in place. I don't know, maybe it does. Does that look like it's going to stay if I just press it on like that? Not sure if it will. Oh, see, no, it just popped right out. So maybe I'll just take just a very small dab of, I don't know, Gorilla Glue or something to pop that in place. I really don't know what is supposed to hold that, but it doesn't naturally hold on all by itself. So that'll be my wild card using this watch from now on. Is this thing going to stay? Is it going to stay when I put the watch in water or salt water or any kind of water, or however I use it? What kind of adhesive am I going to put on there that's going to make that stay forever and ever? So I guess I don't really need to put that on right now. I can assemble the other pieces right now and figure out this decorative piece eventually. It might be instructive to just examine this and the dirt and grime that's on there right now. And, you know, you might think, oh, that looks so gross. But, you know, the truth is, there's a good likelihood that if you have a G-Shock and you pulled the bezel off and expose this area of your G-Shock, it might look just like this from your use. Again, it's a little bit of dirt and grime, sweat, I'm sure, just all kind of mixed in together. And normally very well hidden by the bezel. But what I'm going to do is, again, just take a very soft brush and water and work on this for a few minutes and see how well I can clean that up. Maybe that's just really surface grime that's going to come right off. I'm going to be very gentle about it. And you may be thinking, well, wait a minute, it's not waterproof anymore. You took the bezel off. I think this part of the case is still very, very much waterproof, but I'm not going to submerge it, for any great deal of time anyway. So yeah, let's just see how well we can clean this up. Give me a minute. All right, I wanted to show you remarkably, it was just a minute or less of just rinsing it with tap water and rubbing it a little bit with my finger. So not even using any kind of a brush or anything else, just a little tap water to clean it off. A lot of that dirt and grime went away with just that. I'm going to work on it just a little bit more. I don't think I'll use any chemicals on it, like rubbing alcohol or things like that. Well, we'll see what happens. I could still work on a little bit more grime, but much, much better with just a little bit of a rinse. Now, as you've probably guessed by now, I'm doing this without any formal instructions on how to do this. I'm just trying to figure out to the best of my ability how to take some pieces off the watch and hoping I can put them back together just by reversing the process. So as I did this and cleaned it up, you can see it did pretty well with just a very soft brush, like a baby's toothbrush that was old and even softer than it was when we were brushing baby's teeth with it, and some very mild liquid dishwashing soap. So just with those, I was able to clean it up this much, and I think that looks pretty good. There's still just a tiny scratch I think I can see right there on the front crystal, but I think that'll be all right. I'll just kind of give it a quick polish before I put it all back together. As I was cleaning up, these buttons here, these pushers, got kind of twisted around. So as I looked and took a closer look at it, it looks as though you can see right there where the case of the watch has a little protrusion right there that seems to match up with this other side of the pusher. So if I twist it around this way, I think that's the way it's supposed to be. So when I put it all back together, I'll just make sure that all of those pushers are oriented that way. And then there was a little piece, a very delicate piece of metal that was stuck right there, and that came off. It looks like it might have had a little bit of adhesive to hold it in place. And as I pick it up, it was so delicate that just the very minimal bit of handling kind of split it down the middle there. It's supposed to be just a straight piece there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to kind of arrange it to back where it was supposed to be. I'm really not sure what this thing does, because even with the module in this state, everything seems to work. The light works, all the beeps work, every function seems to work okay. So I'm not sure exactly what that does, but I can show you where it goes. It's supposed to go right there. So see, there's kind of a little hole there. It sort of covers that hole there and then runs up the side of the case, and you see it's already kind of split through, so it's been damaged right there in the middle where there was some adhesive and it looked like it corroded a little bit. So I'm going to do my best to maybe just take a little small dab of glue and just kind of get that to stay in place just long enough for me to slide the new bezel over on top of this, and we'll see how that works. So once I do that, I can replace the watch band, and I think we're in pretty good shape. All right, here's the new bezel without the decorative piece installed quite yet. And here is the old bezel. So I'm going to do my best to maneuver this back onto the movement. And I think I'll start with this bottom corner here, just so that I don't disturb that little very delicate metal piece any more than I have to. So here goes nothing, right? So I'm going to start by just trying to get it over the top of these two buttons down here on this side and wiggle that into place. Okay, looks pretty good. Then I'll carefully pull that over the top of the buttons here on the other side. And again, it's fairly flexible, so no need to force this. Take it nice and easy. Just kind of wiggle my fingernails around here. Okay, it was tricky. I don't have the best fingernails in the world, but if I just kind of now squeeze that down, make sure the buttons are aligned correctly as I come down with this. Let's see here. Okay. Woo. Looks like I got it. Okay, just for the fun of it, and all the buttons got pressed a lot along the way. Okay, beeps still work. The mode button works. The adjust button, that works, so I can go in and do all my setups there. See, this forward button, that works. And if I go in here to say here, I can, yeah. And then this reverse button, yeah, looks like that works too. And then just the light button. Does the light button work? Let's see, if I press and hold it, I wonder if that will, yeah, it did change the indication there on the automatic backlight. And I'll just do a quick test. Yeah, looks like, okay. Can barely see it because of all the bright lights around. So looks like all the buttons work. Everything's back together. Just got to figure out how the best kind of adhesive to put that decorative piece on. And now, whew, I'm ready to put the watch band back on. And you know, just kind of, it's a little bit funny. It just kind of has to go over the top of this, and it's a little bit of, you got to kind of coax it on, but it's just sort of, yeah, not bad. Sort of snaps into place there. And then I can reinstall these shafts with the screws on each end. And whew, so far, so good. Let me get my nice screwdrivers out, and I'll start this one just by hand. And when it starts to get a little tighter, I'll put a screwdriver on the other end just to secure that in place, make sure everything is tightening up okay. But so far, so good. So, and this is where, you know, I wish I had an assistant right now, or at least just something to hold this. But if I do this just right, hold that one screwdriver still with my right hand and twist the other one with my left hand. And that feels pretty tight right there. So I think that'll do it. Now just one more. That will be, let's see, I want to make sure I put the new one on instead of accidentally putting the old one back on. And so let's see, has to kind of squirm up around it this way. There. Not too bad. Okay, so I'll do this again. Put the shaft through there. Put the small screw on this end and tighten that down a little bit. And now I'll, again, position this screwdriver to hold this side in place while I tighten the other side to get it secured. And my general advice is you want it to be snug, not too tight, no need to strip those. Looks like that's going to hold up pretty well. And whoa, what do you know? Now let's do a quick comparison. On the left, you can see the one that I bought when it was brand new, and it's been gently worn, really no visible signs of wear and tear on this one. And here's the one I just restored. How do they look? Okay, watch bands look basically identical. Very little wear and tear or scuffs or anything on those. All around here, you know, these buttons look good. Of course, these new pieces, I just put these new pieces on. They look like that. I don't see any scratches or scuffs on here. All this looks pretty good. Okay, pretty good. After just a few times wearing it, it'll probably just have just minor wear and tear. And the only thing is that decorative piece is missing. So that's how I can tell the difference right now between the restored one and the one that was brand new when I bought it. So, okay, so it worked, not too bad. It was a little bit tricky getting this, this resin bezel off. I was able to remove the bezel and that metal part of it, the resin and metal parts together. And so here they are together. And yeah, so I would, I'll clean this up and just keep it around as a spare, I guess. So I would recommend take those off together. Watch out for that little tiny metal piece that's under there. And it's just do your best to keep that preserved. And then also, again, I don't know what that little metal piece does, but since it's there, I wanted to keep it there. And then if you were to buy this, it would be 2 separate pieces, and you can kind of snug them together and make them fit together before you put them on. The trickiest part for this really was just getting those pieces back on. So it was easy to get one side on and then to kind of stretch this over the other buttons. It was a little bit tricky. Just be gentle, be patient. I actually used a very small screwdriver, and I didn't really budget too hard, but I just kind of brought it in there and pried it up a little bit so it would go around the buttons. If you've got really great fingernails, maybe you can do it that way. Don't force anything. I don't think I scratched up or marred anything too badly as I was trying to get that on. But there you go. And now I'm going to put this in my museum and probably rarely use it. But it's just nice to have that in a little bit better shape than it was. And it cost me, I don't know. I waited until Pack Parts had a sale on these pieces. So I would say probably about $50 or so, all things all together. Maybe, I don't know. Prices change. Some pieces are a little bit more expensive than others. They're just more rare, and I don't know. Just it is what it is. Every now and then, I'd probably say every 6 weeks or so, Pack Parts has a sale coupon. So if you've got something in mind, you might want to go check it out at Pack Parts. Wait until there's a sale available. And, then you can get, 10, 15, maybe even 20% off if you use the sale coupon. One thing with Pack Parts, they will tell you often that a part is not in stock, but will usually ship in 2 to 3 weeks if you order it anyway. That's what I did, okay? And even though sometimes it might take a week or 2 longer than their original estimate, just be patient, and eventually you'll get a shipping notice that says, hey, your part has shipped, and then within no time you'll get it. So that's how it works with Pack Parts. Don't despair. If they say they can get it for you, they will. So and it's too bad I don't live near their. They've got an actual storefront facility down in Southern California, and I probably would go in there a lot just to bother them. But they don't just have watch parts; they have other parts for other electronic things as well. So anyway, that's where I got everything I needed to make this restoration. I'm happy with it so far. Find the best adhesive for that decorative piece, and everything will be all right in the world again. Can you feel that? Can you feel the universe in better alignment than it was just a moment ago? I can. Anyway, that's all for now, and I hope you will join me later because I'm going to come up with more episodes of The Good Timekeeping Show.